Good morning, everybody. I hope you have all had a great week. This is a somewhat informal podcast interview. We sat down with two of Kaylee's cousins that we enjoyed talking to. They're good guys and both serious contenders for the MLB draft coming up. So really interesting conversation when it comes to that. A little bit different from the whole shooting theme, but still keeping towards the theme of the podcast, which is Beyond the Podium. So anyways, you're going to enjoy this podcast. They're two great guys. Look them up. Paxton Wallace, Caden Wallace. Google them. All their information will come up. And best of luck to them in the draft. On a side note, I have to say really quick that my teaching schedule is going to be public on my website very soon. It had to be rescheduled because of everything that had to do with COVID-19 and the traveling and that being very complicated. But teaching clinics are going to go back up, kicking it off with a visit to the Meadows Gun Club in Georgia for the Georgia State Championship. And the Monday and Tuesday following that shoot, I am going to be doing a Game Boar sponsored clinic. So very excited about that. If you want to sign up for it, go to dradulovich.com/GameBoar-clinic. Very easy to remember. I will see you there. Sign up if you'd like some great instruction on the tournament targets the Monday and Tuesday following the tournament, and enjoy this interview. All right, guys, be sure to give Caden and Paxton a follow on Instagram and their other social media. Link to that will be in the description of this podcast. Thank you all, and we will see you on Tuesday at Live at 5. Adios.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Podium. I'm Kaylee Browning.
I'm David Radulovich.
I'm Paxton Wallace.
And we have...
Why would you just skip our guest?
Well, I was going to give them like a grand introduction. And then they were going to be like, I'm here. But it's fine. Go ahead. Today we have my two cousins here with me. And this might get a little wild. But they're on here. They're both baseball players. One's playing in college. One's about to play in college. And pretty much they got all their talent from me. I would say so.
I'm his.
Please welcome Caden Wallace and Paxton Wallace.
That's me.
That's you, yeah.
One of the two is you.
One of them. Guys, thanks for coming down here to chat with us today.
It was a long drive.
Yeah, unless you live about a whole 4-minute drive away. So... You're both playing baseball.
Thanks.
How long have you played baseball?
Since I was 4. I was 3.
Since you were 3?
And
Since
I'm
you were 4?
21 now.
I beat Paxton.
This is going to be a long episode.
David, help.
Yeah? What do you want to know?
Should I just start over?
No, this is a great intro.
Okay, perfect. No, I want to talk about today what it takes to play at a college level. I know the draft's coming up, and are both of y'all contenders for the draft? Both of you? And
We are.
Yes.
yeah, because the draft is weird right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
5 rounds instead of 40.
Yeah, they're only doing 5 rounds.
About 1,000 professional baseball players will be in college next year.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy.
Holy cow.
What is the mentality like knowing that they're only doing 5 rounds of it for y'all?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Well, it is what it is, for guys like me who are battling an injury. Some guys will get kind of shifted a little bit lower or may not get picked up for guys that should go at a certain level. But it opens up a lot of opportunities for those guys because they're not competing against 1,000 other players that should be taken into the draft with them. So it gives them a better opportunity, but it closes some doors for some people, opens some for another. So, I mean, it could be a good thing. And it's supposedly going to pay for minor leaguers because they're getting rid of some of their teams and some of their players to strengthen the systems so they make more money at a lower level until they build their way up.
Yeah. How do you feel, Cato?
He covered it pretty good, but just coming from a high school spot, it's kind of, other than not really the first round, it kind of changes a lot for high school players because there's not as much videos and like scouts haven't seen us as much as
You don't
the
have
college
any
players.
games you're playing right now.
Yeah,
No scouts come to.
Yeah, it's crazy right now, and like everyone, college players they've been seen for 3 years. Unlike our high school players, most of them just get watched maybe a little bit junior and senior year, which we didn't have. So it just kind of affects like the second through the fifth rounders for high school. Like they're talking about how it's gonna be more college players than high school because they have more data on them.
Yeah.
So it changes quite a bit for us.
Do you guys know the ratio or at least a percentage of high school kids that get drafted versus college? I mean, is it generally a good amount of high school kids? Or
It usually
Is
is,
it like
but
50-50 or
it's pretty close. It's a little more
Really?
college,
It's a little
but
bit
this
more
year
college.
I feel like it'll be like 75-25.
holy
more
cow.
college?
A
Well,
lot more
college players are more proven
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've
than
proved
high
themselves
school.
more.
They have more of a background, more of a kind of, they built a resume up for themselves, playing at high levels, playing in the K, playing at Team USA. Like those guys, they know more of what they're getting, so they're going to put more money into knowing exactly what they want.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to put $1 million to say into a high school player they haven't seen much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Or even if they have seen them, I mean, they still got their year cut short. College at least got a month in.
Yeah.
High school got a week, and some of them didn't even get to play.
And some, like the coast guys, California and Florida, they played like 20 games or
Yeah.
close to 20 games. So they also got to be seen more than there's some Midwest guys that didn't even start their season.
Yeah. I want to highlight on the fact though that like if you talk to a lot of like kids in high school or college and you ask them, "Oh, you think, you have a possibility of being drafted?" Like everybody's going to say, "Yeah, there's a possibility I'm going to get drafted." But both of you guys, I mean, there's like
But you
a serious
actually have a possibility.
there's like a serious possibility. So, I mean, and I don't want to use that as a filter for a second because I mean, we're not just talking to two guys that play baseball, but but with that being said, and the two of you being like actual contenders for being drafted into the MLB, and having a year off, basically. Obviously, you got to be at a really high level of playing the game, both physically in terms of your game IQ, whatever, anything else that's involved in playing at a high level of baseball. But going into the draft now, having so much time off of not being able to have like in-game experience because of COVID-19, does that influence at all? Like, do you feel less prepared or more prepared or unchanged? Do you think it's an advantage or disadvantage? Like, I mean, for me, if I'm forced to take a lot of time off in a game or competitions, I feel like I get a little dull mentally, as much as I can practice at home and do the equivalent of going to the gym and sporting clays. But talk to me a little bit about that for you guys.
Well, sharpness wise, definitely like in-game stuff you're definitely going to be a little bit more dull mentally because you haven't done it in 5-6 months or however long until this thing gets back rolling. But I mean, preparedness wise, you got in the cage, you got in the gym. I mean, gym's just reopened, but luckily me and Caden have been able to stay in the gym the whole time.
Yeah.
And lift where there's nobody there.
Yeah.
So for us, we've got to keep everything up and everything going, and luckily we have a cage in our yard, and we've got a big yard to throw in. So for us, it's okay. A little bit of defensive work, I guess, for us would be what we haven't been able to do because baseball fields and stuff are closed around our area, and we can't get on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Or
you used to
practice
pitch to us, so
Yeah, I did. I used to pitch to him when I was. Were you a senior in high school?
yeah.
Yeah. When Paxton was a senior in high school, I would go pitch to him.
Yeah.
It's awful.
I was going to say, what happened?
Well, I wasn't that bad, I don't think, was
I
I?
don't remember shooting in the head.
Not facts right there, not facts. What about you, Caden?
I agree with him on that, but also we're kind of at a disadvantage because, again, like guys in like California and Florida, they have people right beside them that are in college baseball or pro baseball. They can go take live reps off and get, stay in shape mentally.
Yeah.
Like even since it's not a game, but they can go get live at bats and, but they definitely we're very blessed with the people we have around and being brothers that we can,
Yeah,
we can
true.
stay in shape and do the best we can. And, we're not really that far behind. I mean, some people don't have anybody and some people do have a lot. So,
Yeah.
I feel like we've got enough to be ready whenever time comes.
It would be so different without him. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't be near as good or as in shape
Yeah.
as I could be because he can push me
Right.
because of how good he is.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I can
same
play
like
catch
him.
with him. I can hit with him, and it's not like I'm not dropping down in a skill standpoint to have to do
Yeah.
something with him. It's, hey, he's legit.
Right.
So I can do everything with him, and he can compete with me, and we train together. It's nice having a brother like him.
Yeah,
that can,
it's a blessing for sure.
Yeah. That's really cool. I mean, what are the
Sorry, I got choked.
emotionally?
That was deep, y'all. I'm just kidding. What is it like being so young? Caden, you're in high school, or you just graduated, or would have graduated, sort of graduated. Thanks, Corona. And Paxton, you're 2 years into college, right? Going into your third year. Going into fourth year?
yeah,
Oh my
I'm going into
gosh,
my fourth year.
Yeah,
getting old.
Corona.
Well, Corona kind of made us skip a year.
That's true. What's it like? I guess, Caden, this is more of a question for you, but Paxton, you can answer it too because you've been there. What sacrifices does it take to play at a level that y'all both play at when you're so young?
It sacrifices a lot. Like I get made fun of for people say I had no childhood because I played baseball, but really I feel like I had a great childhood playing baseball because I loved it, and like it wasn't my parents making me do it; it was me. But it's a lot of sacrifice. You don't really get to see your friends at all in the summer. Like you might see them at the beginning or right before you go back to school, and sometimes you're gone. Like I missed the whole first week of school my senior year, but it's a lot of sacrifice, but it's worth it.
Every weekend you're gone at a game or practice, right? And how
Right.
many times do you practice throughout the week?
At least 5 or 6 out of the 7 days.
On top of working out every
Every
day,
yeah,
pretty much?
Pretty much.
So every day you're working out, then 5 to 6 times a week you have practice, and then in between all of that you're playing games and stuff too, like if it was a normal
Right.
summer, right? That's
Summer
a lot
and,
to give up.
spring.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, when I was in high school and middle school and then college, I kind of went through the same thing. Your friends always like, man, come on, hang out with us. You never do anything with us. And from their point of view, from their perspective, you're sacrificing a lot. But I think the people that are really successful in what they do, it's never it's not like you have to make a choice. It's not a sacrifice because you, like you said, you love the game. And it's like, well, I don't have anything to do right now. I kind of really want to go play baseball. That's what you go to, you know? And so, but not everybody's like that. And if they are, it's not always something that they can, that's valuable to them or that they can use to get to be really good at.
Yeah. And Paxton, you've faced a lot of injuries in your career. Tell me about that.
Sadly.
Sadly, yes,
But
so sadly.
it's just part of life. And the cool thing to me is, like, some people go through college and high school and never have a single injury. When injury hits them, they freak out and don't know what to do.
Yeah,
I've gone through a lot, never the same thing.
yeah.
But I mean, I've gone through a few different injuries that have been major setbacks. I mean, I get to the Cape and get hit in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You
bad
played
luck.
you played with a concussion, didn't you? For
I did.
like 2 games or something before you realized it?
Yeah, and once I figured out I had the concussion, it was like my brain just shut down.
Yeah.
And I was swinging at pitches I couldn't see, and I don't understand why I didn't go home. But I mean, I get up to the Capes, the best summer league in college baseball. 2 weeks in, get hit in the head,
Yeah.
and that's the end of it for me.
You've had you've had a strand of bad luck.
Yes.
Like,
it's got to come good at some point.
it's got to come full circle at
waiting on it.
some
It's gonna
point.
cash in real
Right.
good.
Yeah, it's going to cash in real good. But you've had Tommy John surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
You recovered from that. And then what was your next one?
Well, I had eye surgery
Yeah.
after my freshman year, and then I ran into a wall my sophomore year and had a little knee injury. Got a concussion in the cape, and then
Trying to catch a ball, though, right? Not
Yes.
just a straight wall.
yes, no, yeah, trying. Yeah, I did catch the ball.
You might have
You
to
caught
clarify
it?
that.
Yeah, I caught it.
There you go.
So
I was there.
Yeah,
for
it
that.
was team sacrifice.
it was.
Team sacrifice.
But I mean, like,
team player right there.
nothing like injury wise has been something that is like something I'm injured for forever. It's
Right.
something that's just temporary that happened to go wrong, and then it's good. But back to like what I was saying, some people go through all that and never have any injuries, never have any obstacles. I've had numerous obstacles, but
Yeah.
I mean, when something happens to me, it doesn't really faze me anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
I've been through it. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something I haven't done before.
Yeah.
So it kind of motivates me. It's like, hey, here's another barrier in front of me. I'm gonna walk around it. You know?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that's really cool about that is, like, if you look at pro players, you know, like a professional player that someone would watch on TV is no different than, you know, what Kaylee and I do in our game. And between the age of, let's say, 22 to 27, those 5 years, you know, let's say you get to make it into a pro team and you're playing when you're late 20s, early 30s, and you go totally injury free, and then something happens. You know, you've gone your whole career so far and not had to deal with anything like that before. And when you're in the big leagues now, then all of a sudden something happens, and it's a shock to the system. You know what I mean? Like, it's a
It's
total wake
easy
up
to
call.
think like your whole career is over.
Yeah, and
it's easy to think like you're just done.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, so like my shooting career was kind of the same way, and not with injuries, but kind of like with bad luck and bad experiences and bad choices in terms of strategy choices. And by the time, and so like I same outlook that you have, like if you experience that kind of stuff when you're young, and then you get into when it really counts, and you've already gone through that, that is actually, you know, a huge leg up on the other guys that you're competing against, you know, because, you know, when something does happen like that, you know how to recover out of it. I mean, there's both physically and mentally is something you have to recover from. And if you've done that and you have no prolonged injury like you right now that you don't, even though what's happened to you, I mean, you know, I mean, that's actually, like you said, it's an actual advantage.
Right. It's definitely an advantage because once that obstacle comes in my way, I get to just go right through it.
Yeah.
Not
And-
phased by it.
No, and that's where your talent at that level, everybody's talented up there. That's where
Yeah.
your talent goes above everyone else's because you've been there, you've been
Yeah.
mentally prepared and physically prepared to go through whatever gets thrown at you.
Yeah.
And it's
that-
going to happen.
Yeah. And that's cool for Caden too, because you haven't necessarily had too many injuries like that, but he's your brother and you can see how it affects him, how he gets over it. So you're like learning from him, but not having to go through it, which is a cool advantage too.
Yeah, I've been lucky to just have a couple minor injuries that set
Yeah.
me back, you know, just a little bit. But just like what you're saying, just learning off him has helped me prepare, like in case something does happen in the future, and just seeing like him make it through everything and how strong-minded he is just knowing that he'll be there for me if something happens, and it's gonna help me in the future, like if something big happens.
Yeah.
How do you think it influences you having an older brother that's playing college ball? Do you think it has like helped you? Do you think you would be in the same position if he wasn't playing college ball?
Definitely not. I realized that in like probably 8th grade that, you know, that pretty much like I wouldn't be where I would I realized in 8th grade that I wouldn't be where I am without Paxton because, you know, we played the same position, and, you know, I can look up to him and watch him, and we hit pretty much the same, and I can look up him and watch him do that, and, you know, just watching him go through his college career, and, you know, just like just the highs and the lows. You know, I can see that because we're basically the same person. So I feel like it's going to be about the same for both of us. Like when I get to college or wherever I go, and you know, we're always going to be there for each other. And I know that, you know, just him being older than me and having the experience is just really going to help me. And luckily, he went through all that first.
Yeah.
I'm just a guinea pig.
Yep.
So whatever
you had
happens
to
to
go
me-
through all the injuries. You had to go through all the practices. Parents were like, "Here, let's put him in this and see how he does." Nope, that didn't work, kid. You're not doing that one.
That's exactly how it went. With tournaments, like what
Yeah.
to go to, like who to play with.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
all
went
right,
to that
don't.
one. Let's not go to that one.
Yeah. All right, Paxton got hurt here. Don't go to that one. No.
Paxton, how different is college ball versus high school ball?
mean,
I know you played, like, both of y'all play a ton of summer leagues and you're on professional teams throughout the summer. Y'all both were on Team USA, right, for baseball.
Right.
So does Team USA in high school, and how does all that differ from college ball? I mean, did
Well,
that prepare you?
Yeah, I mean, it still prepares you. Like high school ball, I mean, most of the time that like guys aces or Division I guys, and then like from there on, it just kind of depends. So I mean, in high school, you play doubleheaders, so their first guy is always like a pretty good challenge, and then for 5A was really good. What Greenbrier was in, and but like once it went to summer league or summer ball stuff, it was always good competition. I mean, you go down to Georgia and perfect game tournaments, and everything perfect game wise is pretty legit. And like I mean, stuff like Team USA and stuff like Under Armour, like Caden was an Under Armour All-American, PG All-American, all that. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, in college, there's everybody's pretty good, especially
Yeah.
in a league like the American that we're in. Is I mean, you don't face bad arms. You never see bad arms ever. If you do, you don't. I mean, you don't want to see a bad arm.
Yeah.
And I mean, high school compared to college, I think is completely different. But like whenever it comes to things like what Caden's done and what I've done in the summer, I mean, all those guys are Division I guys or
Yeah.
professional players. So I mean,
Right.
that's very similar.
Similar
It's
to
just-
college.
Yeah, the only difference really is that in college you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then sometimes you play Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday. So you play 4 or 5 games a week. In high school, you play 3
Yeah.
or 2. And
That's
then
a lot of games for the week.
yeah, and then once you get to pro ball, you play every day,
Yeah.
and you play 3 times as many games. I mean, high school you play like 20, 25 games. College you play 56 regular season plus postseason.
Minor leaguers 140.
Yeah, minor leaguers 140, and then big leaguers 162.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just basically climb the ladder. Once you get it
Right,
at the higher step, you just keep
Right.
playing more games.
Well, like get from Wichita to the Cape, you play 56, and then you play postseason tournaments, and then you go to the Cape, and that's 46 more games, I think, is what we played. So I mean, it ends up being around 100 games,
Yeah.
or a little over 100 games, but it's not 160.
Yeah.
It takes a toll on your body. I mean, whether you're healthy or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just it prepares you perfectly to where you need to be as you keep stepping up.
Yeah.
What kind of things you guys have to do playing so many games to both mentally and physically to kind of keep everything up?
And you got to eat right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like some people don't hydrate like they should, and it affects their performance. And you gotta eat your vegetables and eat your fruits. I mean, people overlook that so
Drink
bad.
your greens.
And
Eat
sleep.
breakfast. Like people don't understand how important breakfast is.
Yeah.
Like I watched I listened to Cal Ripken talk one time. He said that he got up at the same time every day, and I believe it was 8:00. Might have been before, but he said he got up at the same time every day, ate breakfast at that time, and then he could take a nap or do whatever, but he ate breakfast at the same time. Like he could go back to sleep if he needed to, but he was like he emphasized so much on breakfast.
Yeah.
And everything I've learned is you got to eat breakfast because it gets everything going. It gets your whole body going.
Yeah.
If you sleep through breakfast and you wake up at lunch, your body feels terrible and you're not going to perform like you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, breakfast and sleep are the two biggest.
Yeah.
And just like I feel like I have to. It all like I love to start my day off with breakfast, and then if I just feel like I'm performing at my best if I'm eating healthy throughout the day, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
for
not
sure.
going to eat a buffet of pizza or something like that, you know, which is okay every now and then, but like, you know, if you're playing at elite level, you're not gonna be able to do that and perform to your best if you're doing
Right.
that all the time. But
'Cause
definitely, I would say sleep's very important.
Your body won't hold up if you don't do that.
Yeah.
So how the heck do you find time to go to school, work out, play all those games, and everything else that you're doing? I mean,
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep.
That's where the factor is that you're not like all your friends that you don't have
The
time
sacrifices you got to give up.
and they
can't
don't
go out.
they don't understand it.
No,
they
unless
don't.
you've done something that requires that much sacrifice, you won't understand it.
Right. And like our head coach makes us eat breakfast at 7 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
Like
Did you know? Fun fact.
team breakfast.
Breakfast is not actually like morning time. So if whenever the first meal you have of the day is actually breakfast. Did y'all
Wow.
know that?
So what do you call
breakfast
the-
means like break fasting. That's where breakfast comes from.
So what do you call the 7 o'clock eating?
Just morning time to eat.
Okay.
Thank you for that valuable
That
information.
was
If
great
anybody's
information.
wanting to know that, that's
I
actually
feel
where
changed.
breakfast came from.
Great.
Breaking fast.
Great to know.
Yeah, that really helps me.
Yeah, that really.
So you can tell your coach that. If he asks if you ate breakfast and you ate at 12
I'm sure
o'clock,
he'd love
yeah,
to know.
I did.
What?
I'm full of fun facts like that.
What's another fun fact?
Well, I will tell you one later on, is what I'll do.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a fun fact.
Fun fact, I'll tell you later on.
Oh my gosh.
That's good. So, if y'all don't know this, which you probably don't, but I just want to highlight this because Caden just got the Gatorade Player of the Year. Is that right? That award? For Arkansas. Gatorade Player of the Year for Arkansas. What goes into making that award? Like, how do you get nominated for that?
It's not only your performance on the field; it's just it's your character and your academics, and just how you carry yourself throughout your school.
That's a huge honor.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So, y'all both have really good grades, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are your grade point averages?
I think mine's a 3.8.
I think I have a 3.94
Yeah.
in college.
Y'all are both like really smart and play baseball.
I mean, somewhat smart.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
kind of. For the most part.
Yeah, not as smart as you, but
Well, nobody can be, you know.
Yeah.
I had
pretty
people try,
tough.
but that takes a lot of work for practice, games, academics. I mean, workouts, your nutrition, your sleep. That's an insane schedule. How do you?
Oh, I didn't know you had a question in there. thought
I
you
was just to say,
stated-
how do you find time to like staying that busy? Do you? I mean, is it worth it? Do you enjoy it? Like,
oh yeah,
All
I
of
enjoy
that?
it. I enjoy everything of it. Luckily, I've got some I have really hard classes, but also have a study hall kind of class that I get to do most of my homework in, but I still have to do some outside of classes, and I try to do that either right when I get home from school or right after practice, just to make sure I don't forget about it, because
Yeah.
that once your day gets going, it's hard to remember
yeah,
because it's so busy.
You could forget easy,
Yeah.
especially with online classes in college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can miss a date. Just, I mean, it could be up one night and due the next night. And you'll never know if you don't look.
yeah.
I
But-
did that one time in college from traveling around so much for shooting tournaments. It wasn't like I missed a long amount of school in a row. It just happened to be that I was missing Thursdays and Fridays. And as you know, like college courses are, so, like the one that I was missing on accident was a Tuesday, Thursday class. So I would go to it like every Tuesday and then I'd have to miss it on a Thursday. Well, I totally missed out on when our midterm was going to be. And so I remember, like it was a Tuesday before class. And I remember thinking, like, I'm walking to class, I'm pretty sure a midterm is sometime coming up soon. And I look at pull up my schedule on my email from the syllabus, and it was last Thursday.
I did that in college where I went the first week, I went to all my classes, and then there was like this little gen ed class that you had to take. I mean, it was like a somewhat of a like PE class equivalent. And I just totally forgot I even had that class. And like halfway through the semester, I got to looking at my schedule and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been going to this class at all. I went once and haven't been till the end of the semester.
That's not good.
And so, yeah, I emailed the teacher and was like, I'm so sorry, but I literally forgot about this class. And she was like, it honestly happens more often than you would think. And I was like, can I still take the final? And she was like, yeah, it's fine. Take it online.
God.
But yeah, I totally missed the whole class
did
for
you
a
do any
semester.
good?
Yeah, I made an A. I didn't even have to, I went one
That's
day
impressive.
to the class.
Must have been a hard class.
It's very hard.
So I got a question, and think of this through as of a kid wanting to be really good at something. Okay, so if you talk to professional athletes or people on their way to becoming professional athletes, and you know, one of the biggest things is the time commitment and just basically the commitment of your life towards accomplishing is that you want to get good at, and so and especially when you go through high school and college, if this, say you want to be, let's take it for you guys, professional baseball player, how do you deal with, because even though no matter how many times we say, well, I really love the game and I want to commit my time to it, there's always things that come up. So my question is, how do you deal with the compartmentalization, if you know what I mean by that, of all the different things in your life? Meaning, like, how do you focus on baseball, do really good in school, have somewhat of a social life? And I know that it's not the same question as how do you deal with a lack of time. I mean, how do you go from being the baseball player to this high school or college person to being whatever it is, a good friend to your buddies? I mean, obviously it's not like you guys don't have any friends. It's not like you don't have a relationship. It's not, because there's a lot of kids that when get presented with that challenge, they don't know how to deal with it. And so they back off on one of them. And then most of the time what they're backing off on is their dream.
Mm-hmm.
And really what it is just a mismanagement of different parts of your life. So for you guys, I know that sounds like a complicated and hard question, but how did you, like when things came up, how did you navigate that? Either socially, how do you explain it to your friends that you can't go? How do you make time for other things that are important in your life and be able to, juggle all those different things?
Or even relationships. Like, I know just from personal experience, having to give up all that time all the time affects relationships.
Yeah, we're going to have a talk.
Do you want to go first?
So, I mean, it's just, why not me is kind of the question. It's like, I can do it if I set my mind to it,
Ooh, I like that.
And that's kind of the question I've always thought about. And I don't remember where I heard that or what it went through, but it's like growing up as a kid, when you start baseball, it's not like your dream is to play professional baseball. You're just out there, don't know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But then, like, as you keep growing up, it's like, as you said, you have to separate everything. You have to live by it. Like, there's no working around not living by baseball, pretty much. But you have to put God in there. Like, you have God, family, friends, baseball. I mean, you got to put it all into one. And of course, God stays above everything, and that's the reason that you can keep what you're doing is because God stays one. And then, as a kid growing up, is if you let Him lead your path, He'll take you. Like, even for me, I've had injuries, but like that doesn't
get you through them.
That doesn't exactly. He gets me through them. It doesn't. It just makes my path a little bit different. It's not straight. It's interesting to deal with, and kids need to realize it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And that growing up, I mean, like you've said, like we've talked about many times, is like your friends don't get it.
Right.
They don't live what you do, and they always want you to hang out and do stuff, and you're like, dude, I've got to eat right. Honestly, eating right's more important than working out.
Yeah.
But
that and it's being in our family in itself is hard to do.
Oh, it's brutal. Mimi is the best cook I've ever. Our grandma is the best cook that we have ever experienced.
That fried chicken last
Yeah,
night.
she cooks Sunday dinner every Sunday after church, and we eat. Man, do we eat?
We eat right.
We eat right.
Fried chicken is not in the nutrition plan.
She's not doing us wrong.
Or she.
Took you for the week.
But yeah, it's just kind of prioritize everything. You got to make I write my goals down and kind of like how I want to get there.
Yeah.
And as it goes, as you accomplish one, you can change it a little bit, but you keep your main goal in mind.
Yeah.
And that doesn't ever change from no matter where Caden is right now to where I am to 3 years down the road to 5 years down the road. You just got to keep working toward your main goal, no matter what the challenges are. You have to keep adding to that plan, and because it's going to change more than it stays the same.
Yeah.
So you just got to stick to it.
Yeah, and going back to putting God first, I find myself, if I'm ever, like not going to, like pretty much at this level, like it's, you got practice, but it's mainly practice on your own.
Yeah.
And so, like we'll have Bible studies throughout the week, and if I'm not putting practice over those, I feel like I'm still doing better than, like I'm playing better than when I'm putting practice over the Bible studies or going to church, or just like putting God first just helps you perform above than whenever you're skipping church and you're too busy. Like I got to practice because I've only practiced 4 days this week out of 5 or out of 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have time to practice, but God's needs to be your first. And relationships such as like your friends, they don't understand, like Paxton says, but you'll have time for them. It just kind of it just works its way into it. You'll have time with them somewhere, and and they some of them try to understand if they're real friends, but it's just like what he said. It's a commitment, and you're gonna have to enjoy it. And I guess all 4 of us, we know what we want and our dreams are, and we're not gonna let anything stand in between them.
Yeah.
And like back, kind of like hitting on what Caden's saying about the God first thing again, is this year is the first time I've had Sundays off.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten back to your relationship question, is me and my girlfriend have gone to church every Sunday again. And it's like, it's made me just feel right. Like feel at home and I've always been close to God, but without going to church on Sundays, I mean, I have had no option to go to church on Sundays. It's very easy to get away, and a lot of people do. But now that we were off every Sunday, things felt right,
Yeah.
I got to go back, and I was going to church with my girlfriend too. So that's like, that's cool to me. Like she wants to go, and hang out with her and whoever else wants to go, and just bring kids along with you. And Caden's talking about the friendship thing, is your real friends will stay with you no matter what. So
that is so true, because in high school, and I know David and I have talked about it a little bit, but in high school I had a hard time because all of my kids, all of my all the kids I had in high school.
We do need to have a talk.
All of my friends in high school were into the typical high school thing, like being cool, going to parties. I played basketball in high school, so there was always basketball parties to go to, or whatever it was, and I would rarely ever go to those because I had to get up and work out the next morning, or go shoot to the next day, or that Thursday. I mean, a lot of times I didn't even have the option, because on Thursday we were heading out after school to go to a shoot, and all my friends were doing like sleepovers and hangouts and whatever else. So it was hard for a really long time to maintain relationships, like friend-wise, because they just didn't understand it. And the friends that did stick with me, I'm still friends with them today.
Same here. I have, like, people always say you're not going to be friends with your high school friends. I have so many high school friends that I stay in contact with weekly or daily, or a big group of them. Some of the guys that I'll grow up with, and whenever I'm older, I'll still talk to them. It's just some outstanding people that have always had my back, and I've always had their back, and I know y'all are the same way.
I'm still in high school.
Caden's still in high school, but
you still have your high school
but he
friends.
will still have the same people.
But y'all both have had the same friends since you were like 4.
Little.
Yes.
Like y'all all would just all play baseball together, all played sports together.
Some of them
Up
actually,
small town.
some know, like my best friend Logan, he's not going to go play college baseball or college football or basketball, but he played 3 sports and had a girlfriend for 4 years.
Yeah.
And he knows how, like, the commitment and everything, so he understands it a lot, and that's why I think that's one reason why we're still best friends.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like a lot of what you're touching on, like talking about being able to go to church and put God first, and be able to be good with your friends. Think about all those things help you play better, right? And And so, with that being said, that to me, the dogs are going crazy if you can hear that. That to me sounds like it puts you right in a good, full space mentally, and for whatever reason that is, whether that be that you you're just at peace with not feeling whatever the reason. So with that being said, playing a game like baseball, I'm really curious to hear if you guys have paid attention to at all while you're in games. Does different spots mentally, do different emotions that are coming up, or things external to baseball that influence how you are emotionally as you're playing the game? How much does that influence your performance while you're playing? And what have you learned, or what are you trying to work on that helps that?
What I've learned a lot over the past 3 years or I guess 4 years of high school is, I was all caught up in stats and everything, and
You mean like baseball stats?
Baseball
Yeah.
stats.
I figured you weren't caught up in statistics.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not.
His statistics teacher just bought his truck. I knew something
Yeah,
was
he
up.
did.
There you go.
He
Yeah.
did buy my truck.
Hey,
But
I'll sell you my truck for an A.
Wow.
We know what
Wow,
you
you
did.
get an A and sell a truck. That's a good deal.
But I've kind of, it's like going back to like God, my friends, like, they've kind of, like, at the end of the day, if I go 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, God's still happy with me if I'm putting him number one.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends are not, my friends and family, or they still love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel like that's helped me a lot, progress as a baseball player, but
Takes a lot of the pressure off in the
yeah,
game.
because like people are always there's never gonna be, not everybody's always gonna be a fan of you. There's always gonna be people dogging you, no matter how good you're doing.
Yeah.
Like people are even dogging Mike Trout, and he's gonna be the best player ever.
Right.
And people are not always gonna be fan, but there will always be people who like you, no matter how you play, just because of the person you are and the player you are.
Mhm.
Just like, just when I get out, I'm just like, well, that's not the biggest thing. Like, I mean, there's
Yeah.
other problems out there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go slam my helmet or anything like that, but I know like I've got support still.
Yeah.
Like even if I get out 4 times
Right.
or I hit 4 home runs, I mean, they're still gonna be there. They're still gonna love me.
Mm-hmm.
Are we though? Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to understand that? Because that's a mature mindset to have for a high schooler.
Really, when I was younger, I just kind of played the game. So probably, I would say probably 6 years.
6 years you've thought that?
No, like
Oh.
Took him 6
it
years.
took
Oh, it
me
took
6
you
years.
6 years.
I've
I
been
gotcha.
thinking that for probably 4.
Yeah. Because that is not an easy mindset to have, because when you're so young and there's so much on the line, it's really easy to get wrapped up in if I make it or if I don't make it or if you have a bad game. And I mean, that's a very mature way to approach holistically the game.
I definitely think it helps me perform better.
That's
For
why
sure.
he's as
There's
good
no-
as he is.
Yeah, there's
At
no
18.
pressure there. I mean, if you have a bad game, you're just like, had a bad game.
Yep.
Doesn't change who I am, doesn't change my life, doesn't change anything. That's, I think, what more people should understand when you're doing something at that level is when you, like for our game, when you miss a target, it's not the end of the world. If you don't make a team, it's not the end of the world. If, like I've missed the Olympics 3 times prior to this time, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I kept
Look
at
at you
it,
now.
And the quicker you can understand that mentality, the better you'll play in whatever you're doing.
I agree. And like baseball is a game of failures. I mean, you're gonna have to learn to fail and cope with it and overcome it. And just like you failed 3 times, and now you're on
Yeah,
the pace. You've never been this good,
yeah.
and you're Olympian, and it's just incredible. Like her story. of like how good she's doing right now.
Don't flatter her too much.
I know.
That's true. My head will get too big.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit down.
Hey, but like back to that is me and Caden. We chose a game of failure. Like, why would we do that?
I don't know. Still
But
don't know.
anyways,
You
I
know,
mean,
life's a game of failure.
exactly. But
be
I mean,
honest
heck,
here.
you get
your life.
I mean, my life has been a game of failures.
I mean, you get 3 hits and out of 10, and I mean, you are the best player out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You're one of the best to ever go. I mean, who wants to fail 7 out of 10 times? I mean, that's a terrible ratio.
70% of
Yeah.
the time you fail.
You ever heard of the Yogi Berra quote that says 50% of the game is 90% metal?
Maybe you should take Caden's statistic class.
Well, that's Yogi Berra. He's pretty funny with quotes.
He's
But that's
pretty
true,
good.
though. If you think about what he means,
Yeah. I think every sport though is once you learn the game and learn the fundamentals, I think every sport, no matter what you're doing, at some point becomes pretty much all mental.
I agree.
Yeah, because once you get to
I
that
mean, once
level,
yeah.
everybody's that good.
Yeah, once you get to college, once you get to the minor leagues, once you get to the major leagues, if that's where you end up, everybody is good there. So it's more of who's going to outperform who mentally, who can go up there knowing that, if the bases are loaded, if I hit this, we win the game, we're tied. Like, who can go up there and handle that pressure and not let it affect their performance?
The
That's
guys
what
that
it comes
want
down
it.
to.
The guys that want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
The guys that live for that situation.
Prepare for that situation.
Exactly. And when you get up there and you've prepared your whole life for it, it's just another pitch.
It's just another hit.
do you guys
Exactly
know? I'm not asking this because I know, but do you know the amount of time it takes for the pitcher to release the ball and then for it to end up in the catcher's mitt? What on average?
It's like 0.3.
It's like 0.3 or I don't know
It's
exactly.
less. It's like
Less than half a second.
yeah. It's less than half.
Less
a
than
second.
half a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so this might seem like a weird question if you don't understand it. I'll rephrase it. How conscious are you while you're hitting in the middle of a pitch when you're about to hit a ball? How much does that half a second feel like half a second, or does it feel like 4 seconds?
Are you able to slow that moment down?
Yes. Well, sometimes you can slow it down more than others. It's like I don't know, but occasionally you'll just get that one pitch that it seems like it goes in slow motion.
Slow motion.
And it doesn't happen that often. Like most of the time, you don't think about it. You just see it
just kinda
and
hit
you
it.
kind of react to it. But every now and then, one will just go in like slow motion. You're just like, I mean, it's like you have all the time in the world to hit it.
Is that one just bombed out of the park?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
just absolutely
Yeah.
crushed. But it's like everything is perfectly in sync, and that is the coolest feeling ever.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully that happens 3 out of 10 times.
Oh, it won't.
Yeah, it never does.
Happens about 3 out of your lifetime.
What do you on things on a ball like that? Has either of the two of you experienced that more than one time?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have, can you remember those times?
I've experienced it twice, and I remember one of them. We were playing Rhode Island, and it was a Friday night game, and we were down 7-5, and one of my buddies just hit a double to start off a kind of a little rally with 2 outs, and I was coming up, and there was a left-handed arm in, and kid threw a breaking ball first pitch, and it just like it sat up there forever, and it was just like, and I mean, and I hit it out of left, and that was the only time I've just kind of sat in the box and just tossed my bat and walked out. I mean, it was
That's
the
awesome.
coolest thing I've ever
Effortless.
experienced. Yeah,
So-
it just you don't even know what you just did. It's
Yeah.
like your body just did it all yourself. The only reason I knew I did that afterward, like just walking out, is because I watched it on video. I don't
Yeah.
even remember. It was just I was so stuck on. I watched that pitch in slow motion all the way to my bat, and it
Yeah.
just effortlessly went through. And
So
your body just takes control. It's
Wouldn't it be
unbelievable.
cool if you could figure out how to recreate that on demand?
well, that's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is, from that one compared to the other one, what was the same and what was different?
One was a fastball, one was a breaking ball.
But I mean, like,
I hit one fastball and one breaking ball.
so like one of the things that I would do in my shooting career is I would like journal all my performances, and until I got to be good enough at it to where I could just do it in my mind. And like the way that you just described that, there's a really cool video on YouTube. You should look it up. It's Tiger Woods, and they take Tiger Woods off to the side, and they show him 10 putts that he had over the course of his career. This is like a 3-year-old video. So 10 putts over the course of his career. One of them is from like 2001 or something like that, like a long time ago, beginning of his career while he's an amateur. And they're just random putts. And they ask him, and they say, like he's never seen these videos before. He hasn't seen them. Like they didn't, give them to him before the interview. So they bring one putt out. They let him watch it one time. And they say, explain to us what went through your head. And it was like that putt happened 30 seconds ago. I mean, he explained where the sun was, the direction of the blades of grass, how much wind there was, how he read the putt, what his plan was in terms of how many like inches he wanted to be off center of the cup. And he went through into detail in an unbelievable amount. And he did that 10 times in a row for videos that spanned the course of almost 2 decades. And they were all putts that he made, like ridiculously hard putts, right? And so the way that you explain that video or that hit that you just had, if you were to think back and try to get as detailed as possible of how you were thinking, what you were doing before you went up to be at bat, what you ate that day, if you could journal those things and pay attention to them and then find the commonalities and the contrasting points between all the times you've experienced like that, it might help.
I definitely agree with that, and I wish I could remember like what I ate and stuff that day, but I can just remember that I was the 4th hitter of the inning, and I was going, just get it to me.
Yeah.
Because if somebody gets it to me, that means there's a guy on base.
Yeah.
And that was all I could think about is let me get in that box.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything went exactly how I had pictured it in my mind 100 times in a 5-minute period.
Yeah.
Before that at bat. But I've been, you think about that stuff all your life. Can I get in the box when the game is? It is hit this ball and keep the game going, or it's over.
Right.
And it's, there's at bats where like the ball's slowed down.
Yeah.
Even if guys are throwing mid-90s, but it's just like you're just in that zone. You're just in the zone. But that was like a pitch where it just like it's almost hard to describe of how perfect it just seemed. It was like the ball was just perfectly in slow motion, and it's just everything flowed through. Because you got at bats like Caden knows. You have at bats off absolute dudes, and you have like dudes and
Can you explain that?
yeah, absolute dudes. Well, like last year, I had
monsters?
one off a guy that was still in mid-90s at Texas Tech. He was one of their guys. I think he went like the 6th round, 5th round.
That's a dude.
And yeah, he was a dude, and he was 94, 96, and I was on my 12th pitch, and he finally left one over the plate. He just pounded me in, away, and you're just sitting there trying to nick one that's like off your kneecap, right. Just trying to stay alive. Because it's mid-90s. That's quick.
Yeah.
And then finally, it's just you battle, and then you just get that one pitch, and it's just time. And that one also led to a home run. I'm not just saying that that was so cool because it led to a home run. It was just
that is cool because it led to a home run.
It was super cool. Don't get me wrong, but
right off the dude pitch.
Right, he was really good, but that's beside the point that he was good. But it's just everything. When you can slow the game down like that, it's the coolest feeling ever.
It's like everything has to line up that's out of your control for that to happen, right? Because when you get a hit like that, it's because the pitcher messed up, right? Yeah. So you have to be on your game. You have to be ready for it. Right. Whenever he throws and he makes a mistake, you have to capitalize on that within less than a second.
Right.
And then sometimes we're able to have moments like that where he's really messed up and he's, dude over there is thinking crap. And you're like, heck yeah, I'm fixing to smoke it. Right. And it's like you have time to think about that.
Well, he made 11 pitches that were perfect for him that I just barely got or barely, and then he finally made his mistake. And as a hitter, Caden knows this just as well as anyone is pitchers are gonna make a mistake at some point.
Yep.
And in the big leagues, I mean, they only make like 5 to 7 mistakes per game, like through 9 innings.
Yeah.
And those mistakes are the ones that end up getting crushed.
Yeah.
But just because it's a mistake doesn't mean you hit a home run or doesn't mean you
Right.
get on base. I mean, you could hammer it right to somebody.
Yeah. They have to make a mistake, and the batter has to be perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people think that the hitters are what causes the home runs, but it's the pitchers. The
Yeah.
hitters just put the bat on the ball.
Yeah.
The hitters are what can capitalize on the pitcher's mistake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The pitchers really cause the home runs.
Yeah.
And they don't make very many.
No.
In college, they make a lot more than professional, but I mean,
Well,
it's
it's like
just
the ladder we were talking about. Like in high school, you're going to get a lot of practice there. On
you're
being
going to
able
get a
hit
lot of
home runs.
mistakes in high school.
Yeah.
You'll hit mistake after mistake
Or
after
just
mistake.
get walked.
Yeah.
Or get walked, either one.
Yeah, they never let you hit.
Or Paxman.
Yeah. I remember in high school going to watch y'all play, and it got to a point where I was like, I'm not even going to go watch them play because
They
they
don't get to
don't even get to play. They don't even get to hit.
That was the coolest part about my senior year, though, is I had him backing me up, so
Yeah, y'all got
they
to
couldn't
play.
walk me. I think I walked like 27 times that year instead of however many, because he could hit behind me.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was times where they put me on, then put him on, and it was the on first and second, and they
Yeah.
just. It was. I mean, because in high school, a lot of times there's not a whole lot of guys that can back you up. But luckily, our senior year, we had quite a bit of cool guys or good guys that we had.
Had some dudes.
We had a guy like Hunter
Always.
Milligan and Ryan Flake that could hit as well and back us up. So it was really cool. But
And I always had guys like my sophomore year to Andrew Johnson, which I still got walked a lot, but he always knocked me in. Like he had a ton of RBIs because they walked me. And then the past 2 years, I've had Connor Flagg behind me who's going to UCA. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's always a threat after they put me on base. Luckily with him and Andrew.
Yeah.
Our
So,
school's produced a lot of talent.
yeah, they
Let me
have.
just say, college athletes, Olympians.
Olympian.
It's not your school, it's your family.
This is true, but we all went to the same school. It is true. Like our family, it was always like a running joke. Well, I guess it still is. It's not really a joke, but everybody jokes about it. Like we're just like bred differently. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like our whole family has been really good at a lot of things.
That's something.
At something.
I mean, and then you go into your dad being a big time shooter and
Yeah.
with all the accomplishments he's done. I mean,
Our
he
dad was
claims he's the
quarterback.
best
Yeah.
birdshot to ever live.
Which he pretty much is.
he's pretty dang good.
He's pretty dang good. There's not been, well, how many times have we seen him kill 2 ducks in one shot?
Plenty.
I mean,
Or
literally-
at-
or that 90-yard shot on the water.
I was
last
just say
year.
about an 85
Good
yard
grief.
shot on the water.
Man, yeah, he's a good shot.
He just says, "Watch this," and everybody watches because it's going to happen. Whatever he says is going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, he will literally say, "I'm gonna kill that one on the right about when it crosses the tree," and the tree will be about 85 yards away, and he'll smoke it.
And you're like, "How did you hit that with a shotgun? Like,
Yeah.
does it even reach that far?"
You secretly have a rifle?
And our dad, Mike Wallace, was the fastest quarterback
Yeah.
in the 1950s.
Yeah. Aunt Christy, what did she do? What did your mom do?
Nothing.
Nothing. She played basketball. So
Yeah, she played basketball. I think Mimi, our grandma, she was a cheerleader.
yeah, she was
Who,
rode with Elvis.
yeah.
True.
What?
She used to date Elvis.
What?
She says that.
She does
She
say
has a
that, and
picture
they
of
do
it.
have a picture
Yeah.
on a date
Really?
on his motorcycle. Yeah, I don't know if they actually dated or if it was one date or if she was just a fan. I'm not sure. The story we get is that they dated.
The story
cool.
the story fits with the picture, but will we ever know? No.
Right.
So I mean, we'll just go along with it.
And Poppy was a boxer.
Poppy was a boxer.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
We have
So,
a
I
little
mean,
bit of everything in the family.
We do have a mix of sports.
Yeah.
That's
That's
for
cool.
sure.
How do y'all think having a family like we have, like being so close, and then like my dad, which would be y'all's uncle, and then me doing sports to the extreme like y'all do, how do you think that that's influenced y'all's playing?
Well, like for me is like I get to talk to you. You and Tom are kind of like my mental coaches
Yeah.
to a certain extent. Is shooting in baseball as a hitter is so much with your hand-eye coordination, and your eyes are like the biggest part of that.
Yeah.
And y'all get to talk to me about all that kind of stuff. And like even if I just struggle a little bit, sometimes I'll call y'all. And I mean, Tom's seen on TV before. He's called me and he goes, your eyes left the ball 6 inches before it hit the bat.
Yeah.
And I go, how did you see that? I mean, like I'd pop it up, and then I would just be completely mind blown.
Yeah.
And then I would look at it, and it was
You're like,
100%
sure
true. And I go, "How do you see that?" And he goes, I
He's a
work with
wizard.
eyes every day."
He's
Yeah.
a wizard.
He is a wizard, and I mean that has his eye treatment or his eye. Everything he knows about eyes is just for shooting is exactly the way baseball is. It's
There's
just a
so many
different
parallels,
sport.
yeah, in shooting and baseball. One, the mentality of it, and two, how much hand-eye coordination you have to play the game.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what else is really cool? Is in terms of the eyes and hand-eye coordination. You can see in goodness, a dog.
Oh my gosh.
You can see in somebody hitting a baseball, taking a 3-pointer, throwing a Hail Mary pass, in the body language of the athlete, and the level of physical tension in the athlete at the moment, at the highest moment of importance in whatever they're trying to do. If it's as fluid as possible, it's a really pure shot. If there's any tension at all at the very last moment, like it would be hitting a baseball, it would be like the very last nanosecond before the bat and the ball make contact, or the very last nanosecond between the basketball leaves the fingertips. If there's any tension there, that almost directly correlates to a misplacement or a misuse of the eyes. Mm-hmm. And so you can see when somebody is really purely trusting the shot or trusting their eyes and trusting their hand-eye coordination, dependent on how much fluidity is in their movement. It's cool.
Tension and fluidity is how you become the player or shooter or just athlete in general that you want to be.
Yeah.
'Cause if you're fluid and you play without tension, you're less to make mistakes. You're less to you're going to do what you want to do when you get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's how you succeed.
And like you were saying, like how baseball's, well, from the pitcher to home plate, it's like, say it's 0.3, 0.4. You know, that tenth of a second is huge. If your eyes,
Huge.
you have to blink, and if you're holding your eyes open for too long, they're gonna dry out, which causes you to not see the ball as well. And I mean, everything plays in effect, especially with the ball moving that fast and like targets moving that fast.
Yeah.
And if you're dribbling a basketball and you're moving and you're trying to catch a pass, anything, your eyes are huge and they need to be at the sharpest point.
Yeah, it makes a huge Actually, when you guys walked in and I was on the computer doing that video call with my student, we were analyzing a video of his. And we broke it down to roughly, he made a mistake that was 3 frames long in the video. So if a video is, if a camera is shooting at 60 FPS, frames per second, that's 1/20th of a second long that the mistake happened. That 1/20th of a second cost him 10 feet in the flight of the target.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's not as fast as a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, So think about a 20th of a second that you make a mistake with your eyes, how much distance you've lost.
It's absolutely amazing to think about that. It's just like
45, 50 feet of the 60.
yeah.
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 I mean, you miss a couple feet, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's
If you don't read it within the first couple feet, well, I say couple feet by meaning like 10 to 15, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's all, I mean, that determines
You're done.
that first release of the pitch, I would imagine, is what determines how you're going to move to it.
Yeah, and you have to get from your ready position to the ball, which takes time. So you have to see it really early
That's cool.
to be able to swing the bat.
It's just crazy how you don't think about it anymore. Your just eyes see it, your hands react to it, and everything
Yeah.
goes through it.
You're not
There's-
thinking like the detail behind exactly like what it is that you're doing.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's once you play at such a high level, I mean, it's the same thing for you too. I mean, you just do it. You don't think about it.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you mess up.
Yeah.
You don't have time to think.
Did you guys ever have a moment where you had to learn that? Or did it just come kind of naturally?
Yeah, I kind of did. I never really. I didn't know I knew the eyes were really important, but I never put a lot of thought into it until, just you guys just called me, and like
Yeah.
I was kind of in a little struggle.
You were like in a
and
slump.
yeah, and I remember when Tom asking me like what was I like my process with like my blinking and everything, and like
Yeah.
where my eye placement is and everything, and I never really heard of that.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people don't that
Yeah.
play professional sports. They always forget about the eyes. They're a lot more focused on fundamentals than your eyes. And when you're playing something that requires you to have a reaction to something, like a controlled reaction is basically what you're doing. The vision part is so important. And both of y'all, I think, have just now started doing a lot of like visual training, haven't you? Like
yeah,
with
the
Synaptic.
last 2 years.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Synaptic
Pretty
is
much.
awesome.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I use it too in shooting.
You still have a whelp on your forehead, don't you?
Yeah, the first time I tried the glasses, David threw it and it smoked me in the face.
You reacted about 2 seconds after it smoked.
It's
you.
Well, I can see it.
It's very difficult.
It is hard.
it's
really
awesome.
hard. It was on a hard setting, but now I can use those glasses in training, and it's not easy for me, but I have to set it on a higher setting because I've gotten better at it. Like my eyes have become more reactive.
And I think it helps me. I'm sure that's the point of it. But like it slows everything down. Like
Yeah.
you know, I use BP or take BP with it, and I just I'll take it without the glasses and then put it on and then take them off, and it's just a huge difference from whenever I didn't have them on to
Yeah.
using them to taking them off again, and it just slows everything down. You
Yeah.
can see I can see the ball in detail more
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
and everything.
It's easier to track it. After
Maybe
you've used them.
that will help with moments like what we were talking about earlier about everything slowing down. Is maybe we'll get more of those. I mean, I know they're rare because everything hits absolutely perfect, which is never happens. But
Yeah.
but
I think
mean,
100% you can. It's never possible to do it 100% of the time.
right.
But to say that it's not possible to increase the percentage at which it happens that would be a dumb thing to say. That's not possible to do that. But if you
like, not to cut you off, but
But
if
you
you
did.
sorry,
go
but
ahead.
I had a thought and I don't want to forget it.
You trust me, I can remember my thoughts. You go.
If you are as prepared as you can be every single time, like your nutrition's good, your hydration's good, you've been working on your vision, you're physically fit, like capable of doing that. If you could be as prepared as you were during that one moment that you experienced it every single time. So when that pitcher makes that one mistake that allows you to be able to have that moment, your percentage is obviously going to go up from that. But you have to look at it in two different ways. Like, what could you do now that you did then that let that moment happen that you didn't know you were doing, that you could work on to recreate it?
I think that'd be something, as in like David said, you kind of need to journal down what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not mean something at that moment, but it might later on.
Yeah.
And if you can, the more you can make those things reoccur, the better you're going to be.
Yeah.
Even if they reoccur, even they don't have to be as perfect. Like even if they just reoccurred, to, like I'm saying, like a 12 pitch at bat.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be absolutely locked in to keep battling that kind of stuff. And Caden knows just as well as what I'm talking about is like he faces absolute dudes, like I was talking about earlier.
I got to see these dudes.
And I mean, watching him, and like I was watching him take or his first at bat at Perfect Game All-American. The guy made a perfect pitch on a slider, and he looked absolutely foolish.
It was filthy.
It was disgusting.
Filthy.
And I mean, the dude's
First
left-handed
pitch
arm
in
throwing
All-American.
mid-90s.
The dude was a filthy
Yes,
pitcher.
yes.
So
But
if
Filthy
you've
dude
faced a
pitcher.
lot of dudes, have you ever seen The Big Lebowski? Never mind.
but anyways, back to the foolish thing.
We don't care about that.
That's a great movie.
Hey, Caden said, okay, who cares about that? That's one pitch. I got 2 more strikes. And the dude threw 196 on the black of the plate, and he just knocked it right up the middle. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he looked stupid. Don't get me wrong.
I was going.
I wish you could like see this. I wish in
The
this
difference in
podcast.
contrast.
I wish in
from
this
it.
podcast you could put that video of him swinging at that pitch up, so everybody could like
this
laugh
is my
at
thought
it.
process of it. We're an All-American game. 2 outs. He's going to try to blow a fastball by me first pitch because he's
Yeah.
wanting his fastball to get up there. Throws me a dirty slider first pitch, and I just swung right. Like I was like 3 feet early.
You were like,
But
okay, all right.
I was,
But he
I was
got a
half-
hit after
I was
that. Prepared for
halfway. I was like starting to swing. I'm like, yep, this is gonna be bad. Like I ain't.
You're starting to swing as he's
Ball's
running back
halfway
to
to
pitch.
you, and you're already done.
Because I had faced him like 3 or 4 times that summer,
Yeah.
and he's never thrown me a first pitch slider, but it was
He
the
did.
best one he threw all summer to me. But he's at Virginia now. He went early to Virginia. He was going to be a top 10 pick this year, but went early.
Huh.
So
Very, very good.
in
Real good.
baseball, like we have a pre-shot routine, that we do before, or that I do before every single shot. Do you have a routine that you do before you bat?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do it in between every single pitch? Do you do it only before you go to bat, or what do you do?
I do mine between every single pitch, and mine's more of a breathing type thing, which, I mean, I'm not going to go in like detail what my routine is, but it stays the same through every pitch. But mentally, depending on where like how I got pitched and what the guy's doing on the mound, I have to change my mental approach per pitch, like every pitch. And if you just get up there with one mental approach and stick to it, you're out.
Yeah,
You have to change per pitch.
yeah,
And that's how it is. But like getting into the box, if you stay on the same breathing routine, you stay with the same, like Caden said, blinking, even blinking, because sometimes your eyes go blurry and you can't see the pitch and you can't swing.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
staying on the same routine allows you to stay or keep a better success rate.
You're
like Paxton
consistent.
said about like his breathing routine. I have a breathing routine and a blinking routine, and like where I put my eyes
Yeah.
on. Of course, there's lefty and righties and like different arm slots. But I mean, I know where I'm going to put my eyes before the bat, and I mean that doesn't change, but the mentally side does, because you got to set a different pitch.
Right.
And the count you're in, what, like you might be throwing 50% off speeds or 70% off speeds or 70% fastballs, and it might be missing low or missing high. It changes like every pitch and every pitcher.
How much? Because I've never played baseball at we talked about the one night how hilariously bad the baseball team that I played for was. But so I don't have an experience playing the game at the level that you guys do. Obviously, not very many people do. But like before how much can you change your plan after the ball has been released by the pitcher? Are you pretty much committed at that point?
Oh, you're completely committed.
Completely committed.
There's
So
no thinking he's prepared for this, and then something else comes and you're like, oh crap,
Well,
I
let
gotta
me
do this.
tell you this: if you're setting an off speed and he throws a 97-mile fastball, you don't even see it.
You'd have no
Wow.
chance.
Really?
Which
So
I mean,
everything-
sometimes you have to play that gamble.
You have to play that card sometimes.
So a huge percentage of the game that you're playing at bat is like
I guess.
it's like strategy.
Yeah, strategy.
It's a lot of strategy. You really have. Some people overlook the paying attention part of it in between innings, what they're doing to hitters. Like me and Kate are middle of the lineup guys. You gotta watch what they're doing to the guys in the middle compared to like what they're doing to the guys in the front and the back. Because your front and your back are your more speed guys, get on base guys. Your middle is the guys that can hit the ball and change the score.
Yeah.
And it just it's gonna. You have to pay attention to their tendencies. Some tip pitches. You have to notice everything. And like Caden was talking about the focus. When you're good and you know what you want, you're really good at going from soft focus to hard focus. Because like on the arm slot thing that he was talking about, is you have. There's so many different spots you have to put your eyes depending on where their arm slot is. So if they're throwing like from above, like straight over the top, then you have to look above their shoulder, whichever arm side they are.
Yeah.
But some people throw submarines, so you have to look at the hip or the knee, and you have to look so softly until that pitch gets into your slot, and then that's where the hard focus comes in, and that's where you're locked in, and then what you're committed to the pitch
Yeah.
that you're looking for,
Yeah.
and that's how you have the success that you do.
So walk me through, for both of you guys, walk me through your mental process in between bats. Like, if you could put words to how you're thinking, talk me through that.
Well, I mean, mine, I don't really have. I'm in high school. I don't know who's going to throw.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
there's no videos.
Right.
There's nothing you can. You know,
Can't base
You
a lot
can't
of
base it on
information.
anything
Yeah.
till the game time. I mean, you kind of hear stuff, but like,
Yeah.
no one really knows for sure. And just like we were saying, or he was saying, like I'm 2-hole in my high school team, but
Yeah.
they pitch me like a 4-hole.
Yeah.
And the leadoff, he might get 3 or 4 fastballs in a row. I'm going to get up there and I could get 4 curveballs in a row, or I could get all fastballs, or I
Yeah.
could get mixed. But it's different for guys like me and Paxton, because especially in high school and like summer ball and stuff, but because not everybody's as good as like us, so they get pitched different.
Right.
So like people don't understand that side as much, because they're like, well, they're hitting it. Well, they're getting fastballs every pitch,
Yeah.
so they don't realize like we have to have a lot more like thinking and strategizing, and even like when we're facing not very good pitching,
Right.
because you're still gonna get weird pitches,
Yeah.
and they're not trying to throw strikes to you. They're trying to get you to chase, and
Yeah.
so I mean his is gonna be different than mine, because he has the
A lot more
tools,
information,
and
yeah.
like at Arkansas, like they watch the pitcher before every game.
Yeah.
They know what he
He
throws.
studies film and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, they see everything before they go out there.
Like
Yeah.
we know exactly what the guy looks like, what his tendencies are, what he likes to throw to certain guys in the order. Like,
What do you have for breakfast? What time?
yeah, what do you have for breakfast?
we
What
don't
time?
have that.
No, I'm
That's
just-
Yeah, there's no way you
There's
would in high
nothing.
school. Yeah.
I mean, we have a whole technology. We have a classroom that we can all set in, and then we have a giant projector
Holy
that
cow.
shows exactly. Like, I mean, we can go over over scouting reports and everything. We have a video room where we can go in and watch the pitcher specifically to see what he does, and we can watch us, like our tendencies. But when it comes to like pitchers, which you also don't want to sit there and watch forever and overthink it.
Yeah.
But like you can see what they do in certain counts, and like we have all big colleges do. They have, and then once you get to pro, it gets even more in depth. But it's like what pitches they throw in this count to this type of hitter, and what they do in this situation, and when there's guys on first and second, what are they throwing the majority of fastballs? But when there's guys on third and second, are they just throwing off speed because the first base is open?
Yeah.
I mean, some guys pound fastballs in with the guy with the base open. I mean, nobody does that, but the really good ones do. And it's so there's just so much that goes into it that people don't realize.
And you can't just 100% base it off that too, because
Yeah.
they
Right.
know you're watching it. They know that they need to change
Yeah.
it up.
So I got a random question. Might be really stupid.
Okay.
Okay. So if there's at the pro level or at the college level, if there's that much information to do research, to basically have a plan before you go up to bat against a guy, and if you're basically committed prior to the point until the point that the ball gets released from the pitcher, you're committed. From a pitcher's standpoint, why is there not an advantage to literally like flipping a coin to what pitch you're going to do, so that they can't study statistics?
Well, the pitchers also look at the hitter's weaknesses.
Okay.
Of everybody.
They know-
And so they know
yeah.
where to throw it, what to throw to you, and everything, like what you struggle with at 0-2, what you struggle with at 3-2.
Yeah.
Just they
Why would you-
look at all that as like we look at pitchers.
Also, that pitcher might not be capable to throw
Yes.
all those different pitches. You know.
I can, yeah. What gives a for a batter, why would you have this is not a criticism, it's just a question. Why would a batter have a weakness? Is there physical limitations to certain pitches that cause people to not be good at hitting, or what makes a certain pitch hard for one guy but not another guy?
Well, depending on how a guy's swing are, some guys are really quick twitch, can get to anything, but some of them have tendencies to swing off speed pitches in the bottom of the zone for a ball. So you can spin it on a guy and it go in the bottom of the zone and then drop off and they're swinging at it because they just have the tendency to do that and they just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like some guys like to swing at the high fastball every time,
Yeah.
like right above the zone, and you can't. I mean, it's the hardest pitch to hit. Is right above the zone and at 95. I mean,
It's
you can't. I mean, you
Is
can't
Is it
do
just
that.
because of this
just
swing plane? Or?
the swing plane, it just gets right under it almost
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, and that's
So
where
it's
baseball's.
a mechanical thing.
Sort
Well,
of,
not.
but
I mean,
not
kind
really.
of, but like all hitters are basically like all good hitters are basically the same in that aspect. Is the game's moving upwards
Yeah.
for fastballs, so because they want you to. I mean, pitchers want you to ground out, but now like in the big leagues, everybody throws so hard, and the pitch above the belly, right at the belly button, or right above the belly button, is so hard to hit. And it first of all, it looks so good, so you're gonna swing at it because it looks like it's lower than it is.
Yeah.
And whenever you start changing like eye planes, that's whenever pitchers get you. If they go high and then they spot one low, and then you're looking up and down and up
Yeah.
and down and inside, outside, and that's when a hitter gets messed up. Is when the pitcher's good enough to hit what he needs to hit.
Wow, that's
And
cool.
the timing has to be perfect,
Exactly.
especially on a high pitch. If you're not perfectly timed up with it, it's impossible. I'm pretty sure.
And if you are, it might not land. Also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it can go a long ways.
Yeah.
And like say like what you were saying, how do you have a weakness? Like the outside inside is all timing pretty much. Like if you're setting outside, you're not gonna be able to hit the inside because like you can't get your hands to get in there that fast, especially
Yeah.
on guys like your leagues in
Right.
college, and
Yeah.
just the ball is too quick.
Yeah. I mean, if a
And
guy's
that's,
throwing
you're
like,
referencing like making an adjustment once you realize it's something you're not set
Yeah.
up for. Yeah.
right, that's like part to the committed thing too. Is if you're committed to the outside pitch, you can't swing at the inside pitch. You're done. You're either going to swing through it or you get jammed. You're
Yeah.
out.
Is there any way for a pitcher to know what you're set up for?
Scouting reports, possibly,
You could-
but I
yes.
mean, no,
I mean,
not
you can
necessarily.
You can kind of tell sometimes,
Yeah.
but easily now.
You can tell by some guys' swings though. Like some guys' swings are longer through the zone and they're all pull side. So you can just like there's multiple guys that we will face that our pitchers know that just to hit the outside corner and stay away because their swing path doesn't allow them to hit the outside corner.
That's so
But if they throw it inside, like if you throw it inside, they might hit 20 home runs.
Yeah.
Like in the season on inside pitches.
holy cow.
Wow.
It's so much to think about, but then again,
At the same time, it's like all natural.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then again, you don't think about it when you're in that situation.
Yeah. Going back to what Kaylee cut me off on.
Sorry. Typically, I'd forget it
Here we
within
go
3
again.
seconds.
Anyways, like, and the reason why I didn't bring it up was because that conversation there was really kind of directed towards it. But, we talked about that perfect bat or making everything kind of seem like slow motion. You can train different aspects of the components that you need to make that. So the visual, the mental, the physical, the biomechanical, all those things. If you compartmentalize all those and then train them up individually. So for example, let's say that to make that pitch seem so slow, you obviously have to see it really well. Well, you're not going to be able to see it really well if in that moment you're panicked at all. So then that means you also have to be able to control your emotion, which also means you have to be able to understand where you're thinking consciously. So you have to be able to control your conscious thought process in a moment of stress, bring that down, and let that influence your eyes, which then in turn allows you to react really quickly if you're thinking very calmly at a baseline level. And there's things that you can do, like there's stuff called MindLift and NeuroTracker and the synaptic stuff, and that trains your eyes, your brain, putting you in moments of high pressure, and to teach you to recognize when you're amped up too much emotionally, and to bring that back down to where you can react really well and stuff like that. And so it'd be interesting, for you guys to get your hand. I know you guys work on the synaptic stuff, but we should get you some of the other stuff too, because it would really help.
That'd be so cool to see it. I mean, it's because it's things you don't realize are happening.
Yeah.
And we pretty much just started with the synaptic stuff.
Yeah, like within the last couple months.
Yeah,
right?
I think like January or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, for me, it's only
It's been
probably
like a
6
month.
weeks,
March.
Yeah, 2
Yeah.
months. Yeah.
2 months.
That
like,
stuff is
It's a huge difference. I think.
legitimate. Yeah.
Like I really do think that's helped me with my game.
Yeah.
It's like something so simple feeling to where it's just barely blinking and you can't catch the ball, and
Yeah.
you're like, how does that work? And then now you're like, I'm on level 2 is so hard.
Level 2 is very hard. That's
And-
what I was on unknowingly when David sniped
Level
me in
one's
the face.
hard.
Yes. Yeah, level 1's very difficult, but it's like, and then when you start, I mean, you're missing them and you're getting frustrated. And you're, I mean, 2 weeks later, you're catching all of them.
Helps
You're
you
like, wow,
overcome
this
it.
is-
Yeah,
let's
it's-
speed it up.
It's
Yeah.
like when you think, like for me, I thought I was looking at the target as hard as I could. And I would put those glasses on and be so frustrated that I couldn't see it very well. But it trained me to look at it more intensely than I ever have before. Even, I mean, I didn't know I could look at something that hard until I used those glasses.
The focus is, you have to be beyond focused with those glasses. I mean, I can see the laces on a tennis ball. They're white.
Yeah. The other thing that's amazing with those glasses is that it'll force you. So like a lot of times, I'm sure there's one time at least where you've used your eyes to the highest possible level that you ever will be able to. But the question is, how do you get back there again? You know, and to use those glasses, I've noticed when I do them, because it makes it so hard to see things that it makes, going back to the being able to understand how you're thinking, how much amperage you have in your body, like it forces me to recognize, like, you know, like, calm down. What am I trying to do? You know, I'm just kind of like looking my eyes, flicking them around, trying to see something in panic mode. But I have to be able to use slowly and control my eyes and
Relax.
You know, yeah, it helps you notice that a lot.
Goes back to your fluidity too. And
Yeah.
tension free.
Exactly, 100%.
It's crazy if you just being relaxed. Like for us, like if you're setting an outside fastball and
Yeah.
you're sitting there thinking, well, what if he throws me in? And what if he throws me out? What if he throws me a curveball? What do you think? Like that, you're done for.
Yeah.
Like
You're
and
already
just-
creating tension.
and it's just negative thoughts that you don't need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
And if those thoughts ever get in there, that's where you got to call time and get out. Because if you don't get what you're looking for, you're gonna end up swinging at something you.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you swing at a ball in the dirt,
Yeah.
and you go, I never swing it. I wouldn't swing at that if I was actually sticking. You know, you got to be stubborn.
Yeah.
You got to stick to what you're doing, and then change accordingly after what
And you
You gotta,
after
you
you're
gotta have a plan
committed,
and stick to it. And then you gotta
and then you
change,
can change
it,
it.
If you have to.
if you have to.
Or it can be like the Astros.
Yeah, really.
Oh, that's funny. Well, guys, before we end this episode, I have some rapid fire questions over baseball to see how well y'all actually know the game.
Oh goodness.
And yeah. Question number 1.
So
Feel
how does this
free-
go?
What?
How does this go? Do we just fire away?
I'm going to give you options. Some are true or false, but I will give you options for your answers. Okay? Question number 1. What is the circumference of a baseball? 7, 8, or 9 inches?
8.
8,
That is wrong. It is 9.
9.
Dang.
I thought
Question
it was
number
8.
2. True or false? The size of pitching rubber is 24 inches by 12 inches.
False.
No, that's false.
That is correct. The answer is false.
Oh,
Pitching
Oh, I
rubber
thought you
is-
said it was true. I was like, there's no way it's 12 inches wide.
It is 6 inches. Question number 3. What is the size of the batter box? Is it A, 4 by 7, B, 3.5 by 6, or C, 4 by 6?
The 3.5 by
Three.
6 sounds
Yeah.
right.
That is wrong.
It is?
It is 4 by 6 feet.
It is 4.
Yep.
Doesn't seem that big
Yeah,
when
it
you're in the
doesn't
box.
seem like-
Question number 4. What is the distance from home plate to second base?
Isn't it 126?
It's 120
Too
something.
far for my second baseman.
I don't need to know that. I'm not a catcher.
Any guesses?
It's 120.
It's 126 maybe?
You're close. 127 feet
Yeah.
and 3/8 of an inch.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known the 3/8 part.
Why do they make it 3/8? I don't understand.
The mound's 60 feet 6 inches.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. True or false? A baseball weight is 7 ounces.
That's true.
True.
That is false.
What?
It is 5 ounces. Y'all are really not.
If it's
Oh
raining
yeah,
really
that's
hard,
true. That
it's
is
7
5.
ounces.
Yeah, I did know that. I didn't know because you always.
It's really
because
good.
no, I was
You
thinking,
put
dang
5
it,
ounces
because
whenever you say
everybody
it's a real
uses
bit.
those dang weighted balls and they're 7, and I was thinking, man, if weight of a baseball,
I'm
He sounded so
thinking y'all's
confident.
grades aren't as good as you told
we
me
might
they
have
were.
to, we might have to redo.
Okay, two more questions. How many stitches does a baseball have?
Way too many.
Yeah,
Is there a multiple
I actually,
choice to this?
I actually knew this at one point.
128.
I don't know.
Why did I think the same number?
Is that right?
Any guesses?
I don't know.
I feel like it's one.
It's got to be
Well, I
128.
say
'cause
128.
That number came to my head.
Yeah, that's the number that came to my head randomly.
It
Yeah.
is 108.
Oh, that's close.
Last question.
1 and 8, right?
True. Wait, hold on.
False.
Which Hall of Famer was also the oldest MLB rookie?
Is there multiple choice?
There's not.
Which Hall of Famer was what?
Hall of Famer was also the oldest MLB rookie.
Michael Jordan.
What? No, that is wrong.
You know, that might be right in the basketball standpoint.
It really
It could be because Michael Jordan played baseball.
It's not.
But he's
Michael
not in the
Jordan.
Hall
But he
of
wasn't a
Fame.
Hall of Famer in
but he's a
baseball.
Hall of
He's
Famer in the
basketball.
NBA.
Yeah, but we're talking about the MLB.
And he was probably one of the oldest rookies in the MLB.
It's not Michael Jordan.
You didn't specify the MLB Hall of Fame.
I did. I said the oldest MLB rookie.
I'm still stuck
Right.
on the fact that I said 7
Major
ounces
League
was
Baseball
baseball.
rookie.
Rookie, but
That
not
sounded
Hall of
right for some
Famer.
reason.
I know, and then
It
whenever
said which Hall of
I
Famer
knew it
was
was
also
I did too.
the oldest MLB rookie. Anyway, the answer is Leroy.
Hey,
Hey,
I don't know it anyway. So
Any guesses, Paxton?
no.
The answer is Leroy Robert or Satchel Paige.
oh yeah.
I wouldn't have got that.
I wouldn't have thought he was the oldest rookie to be a Hall of Famer. That's for sure.
No, I wouldn't.
He
have either.
threw. That would be the dude that throws Ched right there.
That dude throws Ched right
Dude
there.
throws Ched.
Well, y'all failed miserably at that game.
We got like 2 of them.
Yeah, I think it,
couple times.
I'm still really stuck on the fact that I said it was 7 when I knew it was 5. I just 7 just jumped out and I was like, that's not right.
yeah. Remember
But
that
anyways,
pre-shot? That
it doesn't
pre-thing
matter.
we thought about, think before you act.
Well, this is the thing is when you're playing baseball, you don't need to know that stuff. You just don't think.
That's
you know?
true.
That's true.
I don't
But
know
they're
why
fun
we
facts to know.
Yeah.
Kaylee, how big is the circumference of a clay target?
I don't know. They differ. So which one are you talking about?
Yours.
The one you used.
I don't know.
How many feet and inches of the platform that y'all have to stand on with the 5 different stations is the length of the platform?
What?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes.
Can I call a friend?
So, in your bunker, where you shoot at, you have your 5 stations
Mm-hmm.
at the top. How long is the platform that you get to stand on?
Valid question.
Ooh,
Sorry,
that
it
varies.
was confusing at first, but
That
I
varies.
figured it out.
It's at least gonna be. Well, the bunker is 60 feet, but
Wide?
long. Long.
It's a 4x6 battery box.
So the stand. See, this is hard because some stations or some bunkers overlay skeet fields, so the actual platform is going to be longer than what it needs to be, but it's going to be somewhere probably like 50
From the
feet.
left edge of stand 1 to the right edge of stand 5.
Don't know.
See, the thing is, all you had to say was a random number, and we could have all just agreed with
We
it.
would've
We
all
would have
been-
never known.
My
Who is
answer
the
is-
oldest
my answer is
rookie
49
Hall of
feet.
Famer? Olympian?
Shotgun shooter that used to shoot a rifle.
Who is the most? No, that's an easy question.
It's not.
Okay.
Holds the Mexico record. Sure.
Oh man, guys, thanks for being on with us today. It was
Thanks for
fun.
having us.
You honestly, I've known you my whole life,
Yeah.
That's
Well-
surprising.
and you
No, you
enlightened
haven't.
me
You have
today.
not.
On
Well, I haven't known her her
I've
whole
known
life,
them.
but I've known them my whole life.
They've
Wait a
known you
second.
their whole life. You have not known
oh
them their
crap,
whole
that's
life.
true. I haven't known you my whole
I
life.
told you were a fibber.
I've known Paxton longer than you, Caden.
Yeah, that is true.
This is hard facts right here.
He's known you longer than I've known you.
Yeah, but anyway,
Quality podcast stuff.
y'all y'all have enlightened me on a lot of things I didn't understand about baseball for as long as I've known you.
Same. We got all the questions wrong.
Y'all did.
They're teaching us.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's what I'm here for, just spreading the knowledge. But anyway, we appreciate y'all taking time to be with us today. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Enjoyed it,
I've always wanted to talk to Olympia.
And here you are.
especially with the microphone in front of me.
The pink one.
Yeah, mine is pink.
I'm not beyond the podium right now though.
You're almost there,
I feel like I'm in front of it.
That's a good thing. That's where you want to be.
I'd rather just be on it.
Well,
That's true.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. We'll talk to
We'll talk to you.
I'll talk to you later too.
talk to you later.
Talk to you later, dudes.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go throw some Chad.
Chad balls, bro.
I'm full to death.